Hmm. Do we even remember how to do this?
I'm not sure, honestly. To be determined.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! New Year,
Wow.
brand new episode of S. Soup! Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SM Soup, the #1 podcast with soup in the name, but not on the brain. I'm Spencer.
And I'm Shelby.
And together, Shelby and I are here to take you on a journey through life's biggest questions like, waiter, how is the soup made? Or is 1992 a good year for Academy Award or Oscar nominees? They're the same thing, right? I
don't
sometimes
know.
conflate them or think I'm conflating them when I think they're the same. It's a movie episode. It's the first week of January. And so you're like, yeah, that's definitely how they used to do this. The first week of every odd month.
Yep.
No, it's still the last week of every even month. But we took a break to finish out December.
We're on a break.
So we decided that the first episode back wouldn't even be talking about New Year's and goals and stuff like that. It's going to be talking about movies. 1992.
Talking about the golden years.
Shelby, explain to the people, in case this is their first episode, what Movie Club is.
Well, you see, Movie Club is really more than an idea. It's a gathering. No, okay.
What we're doing is Shelby and I take a random year between 1975 and now that we're in the year 2025, we take a random year between 1975 and 2023.
And we watch all the movies, and then we report back.
We watch all the movies that were nominated for Best Picture.
Yep. And then we report back, and we tell you our thoughts. We tell you if we agree with the winner of that year, and we tend to rank them. And then we tend to rank them against previous years of Best Picture nominees that we've already watched. Which, do you have like a running list of that?
I don't have a running list. So what we do is we basically just have a champion.
Yeah.
And each new year goes up against that champion.
Okay.
So real quick.
Do you remember the most recent champion?
Years. So the most recent champion is just the champion.
Yeah. Well, who is it?
So you're saying words
I just want to know who's 1992 against.
That aren't needed because there is only one champion.
Okay.
And there always will just be that champion.
And they are?
And I can't tell you who was the champion previously. All I can tell you is who the champion last beat. Could be that they beat a previous champion, but all I know is who the winner is between the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even tell you technically the like long running.
Sure, that's fine.
How long it's been a champion.
Okay.
Though that is something maybe we should like jot down because this is only our 5th year.
Uh-huh.
So like maybe we should write down the order of the years that we did.
Probably.
But I think I know them.
Okay.
So far we have done 1979, 1983. We are doing 1992 today. We've done 2000, we've done 2010, and we've done 2015. Our current champion is 2015, which dethroned, I believe, 2010.
That sounds right.
I believe we had 1983.
Yep.
1983 then beat 1979. 1983 then lost to 2010. 2010 then beat 2000. And then 2010 lost to 2015. And now we're in 1992?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's right.
We're comparing 1992 to 2015.
Right. And if 2015 wins, which it will.
All right, well, that's the episode.
Next movie club will be against 2015 again.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's no ranking the years. Because that'll get
too hairy.
That'll get too difficult.
Yes.
So it's just easier to just say like, this one's the best.
Yeah.
This is the crown jewel.
Yep. So right off the front, the movies for Best Picture nominee for the year of 1992 were Scent of a Woman, Unforgiven, Howard's End, A Few Good Men, and The Crying Game.
And the order that you just gave was
The
the
order we
order
watched
that
them.
we watched them in.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep. Should we just get started?
Yeah, so we'll go through each movie, and then at the end of it, we will provide our rankings against one another.
Yep. All right. So, quick overview of Scent of a Woman. Frank is a retired lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army. He's blind and impossible to get along with. Charlie is at school and is looking forward to going to college. To help pay for a trip home for Christmas, he agrees to look after Frank over Thanksgiving. Frank's niece says this will be easy money, but she didn't reckon on Frank spending his Thanksgiving in New York. That kind of, I guess that's something. I always just feel like weird about movie summaries.
Okay.
Anyway, Scent of a Woman. My first note. If this movie was made in 2024, would Womanizer be used in the soundtrack? I think yes.
So another aspect of this is that Shelby tries to come up with little funny things to say, hoping for big laughs, and they always fall flat. What are you even asking?
I'm saying if they're
Womanizer,
like,
the Britney Spears song?
Is that Womanizer? Is that who sings Womanizer? I have no idea.
Am I thinking of the right song?
I mean, there's only like one song called Womanizer, right?
You're a womanizer, baby. You.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that Britney Spears?
It is. Wow, good job.
Hey, do you think if this movie was made today, it would have this song and I don't even know anything about the song other than the name of it? Isn't that so quirky? No, I don't think that song would be in the movie if it was made today. The Womanizer, the song from 2003?
Yeah.
No. Did you bring
saying
anything good to the table?
Frank's a womanizer.
Did you bring anything good to the table with this, with Scent of a Woman, or is it just shits and just goofs and gaffs?
Basically, it's a cute movie. It's endearing. It's heart touching.
Was that your only note?
It's your typical grumpy man meets early in life.
You put two notes, and one of your notes
is the question.
Was asking about Womanizer.
Yeah.
I
didn't really have that much to say about it. I've seen the movie.
Excited. I was really excited to get back to recording and stuff, and
I ruined
fucking taking the air out of the sails.
Okay. What did you think
Unbelievable.
What did you think of it?
So I'm curious, if the movie was made today, do you think they would put the song Anaconda in it?
Yeah, 100%.
I love this movie.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie.
Is this your second time seeing it or more?
Second time seeing it, yep. Loved it just as much this time as the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot a lot of very key things. It's just really good. Like you said, it's like really endearing. It's really touching. It's got good humor for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
The acting is really good. I feel like it feels of the time for sure. Like you watch the movie and you're like, this is definitely a 90s movie.
Yes.
And that's not,
but not in a bad way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really good. It's just a really, really solid movie. It holds up extremely well too.
Yes.
And I mean, yeah, Pacino, playing a blind man, he made it really believable.
Mm-hmm.
He did a really good job at what is, obviously a dramatization of a blind person, but you know what I mean? Outside of getting a true to form blind person to play the role, I think he did a really good job.
Yeah, I would agree.
And yeah, this movie is probably, of the 5 that we're going to talk about this year, this movie's probably the one to me that is just slam dunk Oscar bait.
Okay.
Just from top to bottom, you could make a clone of this movie every single year and you will get nominated for an Oscar every
Mm.
single year.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
don't need,
Yeah.
you literally just have Pacino in this. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like you have a ton of star power, but you can make this exact movie and every single time it'll get nominated.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, like damn close to every single time. So, but yeah, I mean, it was super enjoyable again watching it a second time, and yeah,
It's good. I'm only just now learning that the kid, Chris O'Donnell, is the lead in NCIS Los Angeles.
oh,
I
I didn't know
didn't
that.
realize that was him. I don't see that face when I see him,
You know, he does have a recognizable face. I was
He
just trying to
does,
figure out.
but
I
I
couldn't
don't
place
see
it.
that when I like see the photo of him in the movie.
Yeah,
Like I don't see that that's the lead of NCIS
Right.
Los Angeles.
right.
So that's really funny. Anyway, yeah, just an all around good movie. It's probably, if I'm not mistaken, I would argue the most recognizable movie of the whole year. Like this was the only movie that I was like, oh yeah, I know what that movie was.
No.
You don't think this was the most recognizable movie of the year?
No.
You don't think Scent of a Woman was the most recognizable movie of the year?
No.
You're telling me you don't think which was the most recognizable movie of the year?
Probably A Few Good Men.
As soon as
Yeah. I thought you were getting more amped. Like it felt like you thought I was like pulling your leg, and I definitely was not.
Yeah.
And you're getting more and more amped, and you're like, "Let me just take a look at the list again." Oh, Tom
Oh,
Cruise and Jack
shit.
Nicholson. You're right.
Yeah. Okay. Second most well known. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Honestly,
It's a good movie.
I,
It's a good movie.
I would be willing to bet that it would be like a toss up between this and Unforgiven. But I think I think the general population is going to know A Few Good Men first, and
Interesting.
then you might be 50-50 on like some people know Scent of a Woman, some people don't know Unforgiven, some people know Unforgiven, some people don't know Scent of a Woman.
So
I feel
interesting.
like,
Yeah.
but I have nothing substantial to back that up. I have no concrete data.
Just vibes.
Just all vibes, all vibes.
Speaking of, is there anything else you want to say about Scent of a Woman? I just don't have much to say about it. Like, it's one of those movies that like felt like was on FX a handful of times growing up. Like I've seen snippets of it. You don't think so? Like it feels like a movie that's like
I
been
don't.
in my life
Again,
or like in the background.
and I'm not trying to fool. I'm not trying to
No,
fool
I
you.
just I don't really have anything else to say about it. Like I like it.
I hate our animals.
Yeah.
So much.
Our animals are trying to fight right now. Moving on to Unforgiven, which won, I think. Yes, it did win. It won. This is the winner of 1992 Best Picture. Okay. When prostitute Delilah Fitzgerald is disfigured by a pair of cowboys in Big Whiskey, Wyoming, her fellow brothel workers post a reward for their murder, much to the displeasure of Sheriff Little Bill Daggett, who doesn't allow vigilantism in his town. Two groups of gunfighters, one led by aging former bandit William Money, and the other by the florid English Bob, that's kind of funny, come to collect the reward, clashing with each other and the sheriff. I'm laughing when I said it's funny that the other by the florid English Bob, wasn't he in like the first 20 minutes?
English Bob?
Yeah.
No, he was in it. He came into it like maybe, I don't know. It's tough to tell time with a Western.
It is.
But I want to say like about 20 minutes in,
We saw
appeared,
him.
and
he
was there for like the good middle portion of
he
the
had
movie.
the novelist with him.
Exactly.
I was a little turned around there. Okay. Sorry. I was picturing like the first guy who they like. Never mind. I think they sent someone else on their way even earlier. Anyway, Western, Clint Eastwood is the lead. The thing that like neither of us knew until we like actually started getting into it was his partner in crime is Morgan Freeman, correct? Which is crazy that it took us so long to find that out. Crazy in 2024 world. I guess maybe not crazy in 1992 world. But yeah, quite a cast. Clint Eastwood, Gene Hackman, Morgan Freeman, Richard Harris. That's the end of people I know of. That doesn't mean there aren't other good people in here. What do you think of the winner of 1992?
I don't know if it's just because it's a Western or what, but this movie was just so slow. Like the summary that you just read, I'm like, this sounds pretty good.
Right?
I want to watch this movie.
Well, I don't know if I do. I don't really care.
It's kind of a letdown, to be honest.
I know.
It doesn't like, I don't know if it plays into it that it was the winner, so I like went in with like more expectations. But
Yeah.
dude, just like a whole lot of nothing happening over too long of time.
I literally,
And
yeah.
like that, and like I didn't really think, again, I don't know if it's just because this is a Western that they attempted to make in the 90s, but I think maybe I just had better expectations for like performance.
It to
Like,
me was a very prototypical Western.
like
To me.
we watched the old True Grit and
Yeah.
like you can kind of laugh at it, but you're like, this also came out in the fucking 60s.
Right.
So it's like you give it a pretty big pass.
That's true, I
A movie that
guess.
came out in the 90s was just like, with like, we'll talk about with something, I'm going to talk about with something else as well, because like obviously effects and stuff, but it just like, it just falls so flat and just
No.
like does not work.
Yeah.
And nothing against Clint Eastwood and his performance was fine. Morgan Freeman was, good. Gene Hackman was really good, I thought. Bill Daggett,
I did like
the
Bill
sheriff.
Daggett.
Like
He was pretty good.
I thought he was really good in terms of like his performance, like acting wise.
Yeah.
But like performance of like action wise, just dog shit.
Which, yeah, I think that actually puts it in good context. I grew up on like every Saturday we'd put on Westerns, but they were all like 60s and 70s and like 60s to 80s, I'll say, Westerns. And so me being like, it's a prototypical Western, like that's, in my opinion, not good because like you're saying, it's a 90s movie, early 90s, but still a 90s movie. And to me, it's the exact same level of quality as like a 70s Western.
Yeah.
Which for some people that's probably a love. Like I can imagine this was probably a fan favorite. Like I can imagine why it had
probably,
attention.
I think it literally is just like, oh, Clint Eastwood.
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
Yeah, I grew up with westerns,
Exactly.
so like it just feels good to like see a new western.
But
it's
it
just, like,
literally feels exactly like
just
most 70s westerns I've
paces
seen.
like a fucking western, so it's
Yeah.
just so slow.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, you get a shootout.
Yeah, which
But
yeah.
like Tarantino
yeah.
does a lot of that shit himself, where it's just like a whole lot of nothing going on, but at least like the dialogue feels engaging, right? Or like interesting or funny or like entertaining to some degree.
I think
somewhere, right?
I think we aren't Western people.
And then you have like a big blow up and a big fight and
Yeah.
all that. And like
Yeah.
it's formulaic and whatever. That's fine. I
Yeah.
mean, because I love Tarantino, but like with a Western, it's just like, where was the guy? Oh, he was there. Where's there? Over by that town. That town where I robbed a bank. That's the one.
Yep.
It's just like, wow.
Yeah, I think the movie isn't like it was never going to really be a movie that was in our interest, I'll say.
At one point, there was like 4 different people just saying like, I shot him.
Oh my god, I literally, my first note, why in all Westerns do we just keep yelling the same line over and over again? Or why do we have to yell the thing that we just saw happen? And every character has to yell a variation of that sentence.
I shot him. I got him. Did you get him? Yeah, you got him. Then, on the flip side, the person who got shot. Oh
They
my
shot
God, he
me.
shot me. And he's screaming it.
Yeah.
And then the guy who shot him goes, see, I shot him. Then the buddy of the guy who got shot goes, holy shit, guys, they shot him.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were doing that to play for laughs.
I know.
But I
don't
feel like
think
not.
so. I don't think so. I think it's supposed to be very harrowing.
Yeah.
And you're just there like, yeah, we saw him shoot him. Holy shit.
It like feels like one of those things where it's like you did that as a project and you like are presenting it for people and people start laughing and you go, why are you laughing?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be laughing.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I put literally was so fine, not worth 2 hours, and they did Morgan Freeman so dirty.
They did.
I said it's basically Clint Eastwood being a moody emo boy for 2 hours. Very neat.
It really is just like fine is like kind of
The nicest
generous.
way of putting it.
I think. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I felt
But
very whatever
It's
about
very
it.
interesting that you wrote more about that movie than you wrote about Scent of a Woman. And you wrote more about our next one.
It wasn't positive, so I don't know.
The more you write, the worse it is.
Sometimes I think, yeah, because I think I like will know. I just didn't want to lose the. I didn't want to lose the formatting. Yeah, very, very whatever. Which I can't wait to see how this ranks against this next movie. Which is Howard's End. This is like this 92. what was going on in 1992, guys? Because this is such a crazy mix of movies, in my opinion. Like, such a crazy mix of movies. Howard's End, marked as a romance slash family movie, just so we all know. Helen Schlegel falls for Paul Wilcox, but is rebuffed. Ooh, big good word. Her sister Margaret becomes friends with his mother, who promises her the family house, Howard's End. Unfortunately, after her death, the will disappears, and it appears the inheritance will disappear. That's the worst sentence I've ever read in my life. Until the widower, Henry Wilcox, becomes attracted to Margaret. That summary made that movie sound as boring as it was.
I wrote very little.
Okay.
Howard's End.
This fucking sucked.
This fucking sucked.
I do want to preface. I don't think you and I are into westerns,
Okay.
and I really
But no.
I'll have to watch a few other things. I don't think I care about period dramas.
I don't know if I think that's true, because I think you and I are the types of people who can watch just about anything and find enjoyment out of just about anything.
Sure.
If it's good enough.
Sure.
This was bad.
Let me tell you my
The
first
acting
letdown.
was not good.
My first
Anthony
letdown.
Hopkins was not good.
My first letdown. I thought this whole movie was going to be about Helena Bonham Carter. And I thought she was going to be crazy the whole movie.
Uh-huh.
And then she disappeared after about 20 minutes. And I went, where did she go? I wanted this movie to be about her.
She was in it a lot.
But she wasn't the focus.
No.
She was like just being talked about by everyone else and then was there in the background.
Okay.
I just was like, I wanted her. Okay, so literally the movie starts with like, she has a fling with this other rich guy. And then he's like, next day, he's like, pretend it never happened. That didn't happen. We can't be together, blah, blah, blah. And of course, she's like, I thought we were going to get married, but yeah, I'll play it cool. And is like pissed off about it and creates this really uncomfortable family dynamic between the two of them. And then like we just like move on, and then it's just two rich families being rich families. No?
No, the Schlegels aren't rich.
They aren't as wealthy as the Wilcoxes.
They aren't rich at all.
Really?
Yes.
They literally have servants.
They were going to lose their place.
Yeah.
Because they aren't rich.
But they're not poor.
Well, I don't know. I think you're looking at it from the lens of like, if you were to have a butler or maid or whatever now, I don't think it's like the same as like what they were going for.
I'm not saying the Wilcoxes and the Schlegels are the same, but like the
I don't think
Schlegels
the
were
Schlegels
definitely
were
a step
rich.
up.
I don't think they were
They're
rich.
definitely a step up than your average. I feel like they made a good point of that. And yes, I do think the Wilcoxes were like next level. I think the Wilcoxes were wealthy. Really?
Really?
That's crazy.
But honestly, I didn't care.
I know.
No part of this movie got me to care.
Yeah.
None of it.
Also, okay, so to ruin the movie, in case it's basically the and life goes on trope. Like people just are what they are and the pattern continues and nothing ever changes.
Mm-hmm.
Is the story.
Mm-hmm.
In a nutshell. And I'm like, so many other things have done that 1,000 times. All I'm picturing as we're watching this, which this isn't a fair comparison, is this, this might be also a huge spoiler. Like basically that's how The Wire ends and life goes on.
Sure.
Things continue. The pattern continues. Every time you think you're breaking the pattern, it just continues.
Right.
And I'm like,
every day another Hitler's born.
Yeah. And
what do you mean, yeah?
And I'm just like, this movie did it so in such a whatever way. Like I just was like, what the hell?
Biggest problem
Why
is,
were any of us supposed to watch the whole thing of this?
This movie was what, 2 hours?
Yeah.
The biggest problem is that 30 minutes in, I'm treading lightly because, like, literally, if I say too much, there is genuinely no point in watching the fucking movie.
I mean, I would argue there's no point in watching
I
the
would
movie.
as well. But just to give you a glimpse, 30 minutes in, something is supposed to happen, and they go, no, this will not happen.
Yeah.
Fast forward to the end of the movie, that thing then happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally, yeah.
So what they could have just done at that 30-minute mark was say,
the end.
It happened. The end.
Yeah.
Not as compelling, mayhaps, but
But even what they did wasn't compelling. Like it
I
didn't.
know.
It. I know. It was so bad. It was so bad. Worse than Unforgiven. You'll have to keep listening to find out. I have a really hard no. Do I have a hard time stacking those two against each other? I'm not sure. But really bummed about Howard's End. I don't understand. Wait, I'm looking really quick.
It's like a 94%
It
on Rotten
has a
Tomatoes.
pretty good rating. Why isn't anything coming up quick? Reviews? Yeah, it has a 7.4 on IMDb, 94% apparently on Rotten Tomatoes, a 4.1 on Google.
But like, what about it deserves to be a 94%? Like, what are people pointing to that is like so good about this movie? The acting? No.
Howard's End is a classic in its own right. It's structured like a Victorian novel over which Blake's chimney sweepers work to print and bind in horrifying conditions, surviving on scraps and contaminated drinking water.
I didn't get that from it at all.
Its perfectionism borders delusional. Sorry, it's an illusion. It's so well put, you're almost tempted to label it psychedelic. Its soundtrack so sternly composed, one could fly out of the window in sympathy. It's also perfect, except for the storyline. This person gave it 5 stars, by the way. Prepare to fall in love with this movie because I certainly did the moment I stumbled upon it.
What the fuck are they on?
I don't know. They were trying to write their own little. That's like a weird. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. Yeah, I really hated that movie.
Yeah. All right.
All right, moving on. This is such a quick one because we have some strong feelings. Next one is A Few Good Men. I wrote A Few Good Mean. Lieutenant Daniel, what was it? Caffey is a military lawyer defending 2 U.S. Marines charged with killing a fellow Marine at the Guantanamo Bay Naval Base in Cuba. Although Caffey is known for seeking plea bargains, a fellow lawyer, Lieutenant something, Joanne Galloway, convinces him that the accused Marines were most likely carrying out an order from a commanding officer. Caffey takes a risk by calling Colonel Nathan R. Jessup to the stand in an effort to uncover the conspiracy. This movie was so good.
Very good.
Literally, how did this not win Best Picture? Like, I actually don't understand.
Uh-huh.
And I said that at least 5 times last night when we watched it, and I stand by it. How did this not win?
Spoiler heavy episode in terms of like the end of this episode and like what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
We're really just
I don't
burying
care.
the lead.
Dude, there's like this weird was so fucking weird.
This weird was so fucking
This so weird. This movie was so good. I literally think, I said this last night and I made a note. I think this might be my favorite non-action Tom Cruise performance.
Yeah.
And obviously I might not be taking everything into consideration.
You're not.
But of everything I can think of, this might be my favorite non-action film of his.
It's good. It's very good.
The dialogue? Top tier.
Yeah.
Top tier dialogue.
Yep.
Every character had some of the best quips, the best interactions, the best back and forth I have seen in a movie in everyone, like across the board. Like the writing on this was phenomenal.
Action.
Yes.
None. There's no action whatsoever.
It's all people talking.
It's people talking, and there's like a bit of mystery and intrigue.
Tiny bit, yeah.
You know, to like, we gotta uncover a little bit of truth here, or like, how is he going to navigate to get the truth out for everybody else, right? And yet it's done so well.
Yep.
It's done incredibly. It's more compelling and more interesting than Unforgiven and Howard's End. Like,
yep.
2 movies where it's like, again, like I'm all for a movie that doesn't like necessarily do a lot. That's fine.
Right.
But like make it interesting.
Yes.
And that's exactly what A Few Good Men did.
And I literally wrote, it's even like pretty predictable because we've seen this movie.
Sure.
As a whole. I still loved it. Like I don't care.
It's really good.
I don't care that I saw the end. Like I like felt like I pretty much saw the end coming to a degree. Again, not like every detail, but it was pretty predictable. This movie's been made, but I fucking loved it. Like it was so good.
And like you said, like all the performances were really good. Like Tom Cruise was great. Demi Moore was great. Jack Nicholson was fantastic.
Oh my God.
Like, everybody did like such a good job.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, just a really strong movie. This is like, again, with like in lockstep, in my opinion, with Scent of a Woman, where it's just like, this is a movie that really holds up.
Yes.
You can go back and watch this movie at any time. You can
Yep.
watch this movie multiple times
Yep.
and like enjoy it and like get enjoyment out of it and entertainment out of it.
Definitely.
And yeah, I thought it was I thought it was fantastic.
Yep.
Kind of
Loved
had
it.
like pretty high expectations going into it as well, and like met. Yeah.
Very much met. Yeah, I would agree. I'm also excited because now this is sort of unrelated. I now want to watch The Firm, and in which one is Tom Cruise a better lawyer?
Well, I'll tell you which movie's better.
Yeah, Few Good Men probably.
The Firm,
Really?
because he runs.
Okay,
He runs
you've
twice.
sold me.
And in A Few Good Men, he actually doesn't run at all.
He doesn't even jog.
Takes a few swings with a bat,
He does.
but
He loves that
you never
bat.
watch him run it out.
Mm-mm.
So, little fun fact for you. I have no idea. I bet he doesn't run in The Firm,
Oh,
but he might.
he might. You never know. But yeah, such a good movie. Happy we can finally say we watched it. And I think that put us we did a tier rank of all Tom Cruise movies, and does that put us over perfectly half of having seen half his movies?
I think we've now seen more than half of his movies.
Like that put us right over the edge because we were half and half. That's very funny.
Also,
And
I can't believe, like, shame on us that that's the first time we finally watched that movie.
I know.
Because, like,
it was pretty bad on us.
Like, I literally, like, everybody knows the whole, you can't handle the truth.
Mhm.
I mean, you didn't, but
I didn't.
like, that's such a recognizable line. And like, it's like in the zeitgeist. Like,
Mhm.
people say that, right? Like, just like, that's not a knife. This is a knife,
Yeah.
you know? Stuff
Yep.
like that. We need a bigger boat, right? But yeah, crazy that still hadn't seen it.
Yep. But glad we did. You said, is there what, like a show or something? Isn't there something else that's called A Few Good Men, or no? Am I totally crazy? Okay, no, I'm totally crazy. All right, last movie, which we literally just watched. The Crying Game is considered a thriller/romance, and the premise is as such. Irish Republican Army member Fergus forms an unexpected bond with Jody, a kidnapped British soldier in his custody, despite the warnings of fellow IRA members Jude and Maguire. Jody makes Fergus promise he'll visit his girlfriend, Dill, in London, and when Fergus flees to the city, he seeks her out. Hounded by his former IRA colleagues, he finds himself increasingly drawn to the enigmatic and surprising Dill. Where to begin? I've never been thrown for a curve so many times.
There's
so much in this movie.
A lot of twists in the movie. One thing I will say, without spoiling anything,
Yeah.
somebody dies in this movie.
Yes.
And the manner in which they die is so shocking
It really is.
because you don't really think it's happening.
No.
And then it goes a step further.
Mm-hmm.
And when it went that step further, I was like, that was bad.
Yeah.
It
was really uncomfortable. Yeah, it was really uncomfortable. Both of us jaw dropped.
Yeah, like,
and then we were like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, what are we in for?
I
mean, to be clear, we literally finished this approximately 45 minutes
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
I still don't know how I feel about it.
Pro LGBT?
Yes?
I want to say yes.
That's like the hill I was teetering on the whole time. I was like, I think so. Like,
Right.
I think we're all being positive
Like,
as a whole.
Right?
Especially like as shitty as it is in the context of the early 90s.
Well, right.
Yes. I know. Okay, so just to be clear, there are LGBTQ plus characters.
Right.
And it's like, but it's done in a very like I don't even know. Like, I don't even know how to sum up this movie. I would say as a whole, it was like being portrayed in a very like positive manner, with the understanding that there are plenty of people who have not interacted knowingly, I will say, with LGBTQ plus people, and kind of like people coming to grips with some of that, and like kind of fighting probably their own stigmas, internalized stigmas and everything. So there is a lot of that. I mean, you literally see like a main character like struggling with his own like perceptions of things
Yeah.
and again, ingrained stigmas. But as a whole, I do feel like it was intended to be very positive and like accepting.
Yeah.
It just was like you're sitting there the whole time like, "Oh my god, what the hell is
So it's
going to
like
happen?" It makes you so nervous.
there's a bit of a reveal. Again, I don't want to like spoil it because it's very like
Shocking.
yeah, it's a very good reveal. But then like immediately afterwards, like the person was basically like, I thought you knew. Like
Yeah.
they did such a good job with like shielding the viewer,
Yes.
but then like so there's a gay bar.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Clearly.
But it's not clear.
right. Like you're supposed to be
start-
as confused, not confused. You're like as in the dark as the main
Right.
character. Yeah.
And then once he goes back to the bar, it's so blatantly obvious.
they actually like focus in on the humans that are around the
Yes.
main character, and you're like,
It's so
oh,
funny.
he
It's
wasn't
so
paying
well done.
attention. Yeah, it's very well done in that in that regard. Again,
yeah.
truly, I like the best way is like this movie will put you on a ride.
Oh,
like
it's
you are
really-
like, what the
yeah.
fuck is going on?
Ton of shock factor.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's good.
I actually thought, I thought it was pretty good. Yeah. I don't really know. Like, I don't want to say too much because of all the movies. Like, I think this one has like value in experiencing it from like the whole thing. So like, I know this is the one movie we're skirting around any details, but if you're at all intrigued, like I get like look it up, look at the premise, and like again, it's like a very unique experience for a movie.
It's a roller coaster. And it's good too.
It is
like
really, it is
it's
good.
solid. It's a solid movie.
Yeah. Very thick Irish and English accents.
Yeah,
That took
Shelby-
me like 20 minutes to be able to start hearing the words properly.
Yeah, Shelby couldn't understand what
Oh
they
my
were
god,
saying.
the
at
beginning
time.
they were so thick that I was like, oh no, I'm like, I mean, I probably should have just turned subtitles on, but I was like, can I hear any of these? Then I got used to it.
It really wasn't that bad.
To me, it felt so thick. I was like, I don't know. It takes me like a minute to adjust to being able to hear. I don't know. I have like terrible hearing.
They're
and-
speaking the same language.
I know, but I'm saying their accents were so thick, and I then the whole time was like,
Well, it's
is
not like-
Forrest Whitaker British?
Yeah. That was wild because he's not.
Right. So I was like, of all like, I mean, I should
You
just Google
asked?
it.
You ask,
I was like, why is he in this movie?
and every other person was pretty obviously
Yeah.
Irish or English.
Yeah.
And you asked, and I was like, yeah, he must be.
It like
And,
throws doubt into your brain.
I was just so prepared to accept it because like how often, do you like watch an interview with an actor?
Yeah.
And then suddenly you're like, oh, Florence Pugh's British.
Right. Well, because like we're so used to like
She was American as hell in Oppenheimer.
Yep.
Like
It
she's
also-
Russian in Marvel.
It doesn't feel like we see a lot of movies as very prototypical Americans, where it's like there's only one American actor having to do the accent of like a different.
Right.
Like it's not common we're having to
Yeah,
see that.
It's not common. We're infiltrating.
Yeah.
we're normally being infiltrated.
Yeah, everyone's doing an American accent, and then I'm like, holy
Crazy.
shit.
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield's British. That's at the back of my head
Right.
every now and then.
Should we come up with more examples
Yeah,
or
I think
what?
we can. But yeah, I guess should we?
The guy from Walking Dead
Which one?
is Australian.
Which one?
Rick.
Who's Rick? Is that the lead?
He's like the sheriff.
He's Australian.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Do you know Hugh Jackman's Australian?
Huh?
Huh?
Did you know Nicole Kidman's Australian?
No. Is she really?
I think so.
Really?
Pretty sure.
They're both Australian.
Weren't they married?
Yeah, that doesn't mean they're both Australian. By default,
don't
she's
be-
clearly Australian.
Don't be so sure. He met her in the outback.
Whoa.
Shall we rank?
Let's rank away.
So we'll go bottom to top.
Bottom to top.
So number 5.
Yeah.
The worst movie of the year was.
Howard's End.
Okay. I didn't know if we were going to do a countdown
Sorry.
or not. So let's do a countdown.
All
5,
right.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Howard's End. It was so bad. I had to stay here and really flip flop. I've been flip flopping between Unforgiven and Howard's End.
Okay. So number 4 is Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Cool. We're on the same page so far.
It only edged
what
out a
point-
little bit because at least it like ended.
At least there was like some
Yeah.
like there was some shooting.
There was
There
the
was some
there
action.
was the mild how a typical story goes, an
At the
introduction, a
end of the day, nothing
climax, and
happened, but
yeah, but like at least they had a little bit of a there was a small hump in the
okay,
end.
3.
3.
Crying
The Crying
Game.
Game, yeah. 100%.
Nice.
It sits perfectly in the
Are
middle.
we gonna match?
It was I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so.
Interesting.
Unless I'm misjudging you.
Okay, Crying Game perfectly sits in the
I
middle.
think it perfectly sits in the middle. It was
Yes.
like it was the most shocking experience of all the movies.
Actually, I don't think it perfectly sits in the middle. I think it's a
Sorry.
lot closer to the top
Yeah,
two.
perfectly sits in the middle. Like the problem is I like really, really, really liked the other two movies.
1 and 2,
and I
yeah.
really, really, really hated the other two movies.
Exactly.
So it perfectly sit. Like I knew as soon as we were like halfway through, I was like, well, I know this is in the middle. We'll see which way
Yeah.
it teeters, but I know it's in the middle. Like
Yeah.
it's already beat the other two.
We're on a 100-point scale. This is like skewing towards like 60, 70 range,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
While Howard's End are so far 0.
Yeah.
And Scent of a Woman and A Few Good Men are so
far to
like
100.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay,
right,
movie
number
4.
2.
Number 2. Number 2. 3, 2, 1.
Scent of a Woman.
Wow.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to put that in the first.
I thought you thought I would.
You
That was tough.
fucking thought.
It's really like for me,
Yeah.
it is so close.
For me,
like
it's not.
it's a dick hair
Sure.
that A Few
A good
Men.
measuring device.
A Few Good Men, A Few Good Dick Hairs. It's that close, but
Yeah.
I will give it to A Few Good Men just because it just like it felt just like more electric with like courtroom scenes
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And like I don't
Yeah.
know, I could easily be convinced though to like go, no, Scent of a Woman's the better movie, but it's very clearly one of these two.
Yes, it absolutely. Which again, mind blown. Unforgiven won that year.
I
How?
have things to say.
How? Anyway, but yeah, so we have the same ranking. It goes Few Good Men, Scent of a Woman, The Crying Game, and then dig 6 feet down, and you will find Unforgiven and Howard's End, in case you were curious about. Go ahead.
And I would say that A Few Good Men and Scent of a Woman are at the very least are must watches from the year.
Yeah, I would agree. I think like anyone could watch either of those.
Other movies that came out in '92
no, this is gonna
that
make
were
me
nominated
so
for
mad.
awards.
This is gonna make me so mad. I already know it.
My Cousin Vinny.
Really?
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Okay.
Aladdin.
Why wasn't that? I haven't seen
Malcolm
Aladdin.
X.
Ooh, I haven't seen Aladdin in a really long time. Okay.
Malcolm X in '92.
Really, it's that old of a movie?
Yes.
Wow.
Malcolm X. Chaplin. Robert Downey Jr. plays Charlie Chaplin.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
Do you know who Charlie Chaplin is?
Yes, I know who
Jesus
Charlie
fucking
Chaplin
Christ.
is.
What do you think it is? A movie called Chaplin. What do you fucking think it is?
I just didn't know there was a movie called Chaplin.
Dracula. I don't know what that could be about.
Yeah, you know the two names, Dracula and Charlie Chaplin. Synonymous.
Well, I love that you're like, I don't know what that could possibly be. Like, what do you think it is? It's a biopic. Biopic.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, not like a ton of other stuff, but
No, but much better than much more worth my time than Unforgiven and Howard's End. That's for sure, in my opinion.
So obviously we went through Best Picture. What Shelby and I also like to do, in case this is your first time, well, what I like to do is I will go through some of the other awards and just run through them, and we'll at least talk about the ones that we can attest to,
Yeah.
Having watched them. So, for example, Best Director, nominated was Clint Eastwood for Unforgiven, Neil Jordan for The Crying Game, James Ivory for Howard's End, Robert Altman for The Player, and Martin Brest for Scent of a Woman. So, of the Best Picture nominees, A Few Good Men was not nominated for Best Director, which is sometimes interesting, like normally there's a lot of overlap. I mean, 4 out of 5 is still a lot, but
Yeah.
anyway, and Clint Eastwood won for Unforgiven. So
I don't
what I
understand.
think is happening here is that the Academy loves Clint Eastwood,
Clearly. Holy shit.
and this like this shit just had to have just been given to him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
I'm trying to wrap my head around it, and I'm like, I know westerns were big, and Clint Eastwood's big, but holy shit,
right,
guys! Like, what? Are you
yeah,
serious? Are you
like
serious?
I think they just have a hard on for Clint
It
Eastwood.
kind of feels like it.
Um, so best
I already
actor,
know what we're naming this episode. We hate Clint Eastwood.
best actor,
Yeah.
the nominees: Robert Downey Jr. for Chaplin, Clint Eastwood for Unforgiven, Stephen Ray for The Crying Game, Denzel Washington for Malcolm X, and Al Pacino for Scent of a
I
Woman.
swear, if Clint Eastwood won, riot. You're joking.
Al Pacino won.
Okay, I was like, that's insane because
Al Pacino
no.
was definitely the best performance, but like Tom Cruise also gave a really good performance.
Yeah.
Just gonna go ahead and jump to Best Actress real quick. Demi Moore gave a great performance, and I don't know, maybe she would be considered a supporting actress, but she's not nominated for either Best Actress or Best Supporting Actress.
That's crazy.
Um,
Yeah, I thought she was great.
that's like frustrating.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, there can't even have been that many women in them.
also Stephen.
So, like, how is she not in either category?
Right, Stephen Ray also was very good in The Crying Game. That was Fergus. And
Yes.
his performance was good for sure. So
was.
it was good to see him nominated Best Actress. The winner was Emma Thompson for Howard's End. Other nominees were Catherine Deneuve for Indochine.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm so sorry. Mary McDonnell for Passion Fish, Michelle Pfeiffer for Love Field, and Susan Sarandon for Lorenzo's Oil. None of those movies were
That is always
nominees.
astounding to me when. Okay, yeah, we'll move on. It's fine.
Best Supporting Actor, Gene Hackman won for Little Bill Daggett in Unforgiven. Other nominees, Jay Davidson for The Crying Game as Dill, Jack Nicholson as Colonel Nathan Jessup for A Few Good Men, Al Pacino in Glengarry Glen Ross.
That's funny.
So this man could have won Best Supporting Actor and Best
Best
Actor. And then David Paymer in Mr. Saturday Night. Again, Gene Hackman won. I did think his performance as Little Bill Daggett was good.
It was, yeah.
It's honestly a little surprising that Jack Nicholson like didn't steal it, just because this is like height of Jack Nicholson right here. Like right around this time, I believe, is as good as it gets. I mean, obviously he was in like Terms of Endearment in the 1983 movies that we watched. I mean, Nicholson was huge. Like,
Yeah.
and like honestly still has probably a lot of star power.
Yeah. Definitely.
So honestly, I could have seen him get it, but I do actually think Hackman in Unforgiven was a better performance.
I mean, I think he was arguably the best character in the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right, and then for Best Supporting Actress, the winner was Marissa Tomei in My Cousin Vinny.
Fun.
That's Aunt May, in case anybody doesn't know, and she's phenomenal in My Cousin Vinny. I could watch that movie again. Just talking about it now. Nobody else. Let's see. Judy Davis for Husbands and Wives. Joan Plowright for Enchanted April. Vanessa Redgrave for Howard's End. Ruth Wilcox. So is that
That's one of the.
that was the wife of what's his name?
The mousy girl or the
No.
other one?
Like the mother who died.
Oh, yes.
And Miranda Richardson in Damage. Miranda Richardson was also in The Crying Game. She was like the woman who was a part of the Irish group.
Okay. IRA.
Yeah.
IRA.
But she was nominated for Damage, not for
Okay.
The Crying Game, which I didn't think her performance in The Crying Game was like that great. So
it's fine.
And yeah, so the only one that we saw was Vanessa Redgrave, and I didn't think that performance was really that great. But I also don't think women sometimes really get big roles. So sometimes I feel like the pickings are slim, especially like when we look back at some of these older, years. So anyway,
That's crazy that Demi Moore wasn't in any of that.
I know. All right, 1992 versus 2015. Just to remind you
Ooh, this
real
might be a
quick.
tough one.
Just to remind you real quick, 2015, the movies were Spotlight, The Big Short, Bridge of Spies, Brooklyn, Mad Max, Fury Road, The Martian, The Revenant, Room. And I believe we talked about all 8 of those movies.
We did, because we couldn't pick.
For our episode. And normally, after 2009 or starting in 2009, they expanded the field of nominees. So our plan normally going into those, we've only done 2 years, but is normally to try and talk about at least 5. But basically it's like we do our own rankings and we see how much overlap we have pre the recording. So that way we can like be sure to talk about each of our top 5s. So in a year that has 10, we could theoretically talk about all 10 if somehow Shelby and I don't have any overlap with our top 5. Additionally, if our top 5 matches and we don't have, neither one of us has the best picture winner, we still will be sure to talk about that movie.
Yeah.
2015 was so good. We talked about
We
all
talked
8.
about everything. Yeah, we liked everything.
So was 2015 better than 1992?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was.
Like, without a doubt. Yeah, 1992, weird year, guys. Weird year.
Weird year indeed.
Hopefully we don't have another one of those.
Howard's End or Chocolat, which was worse?
Howard's End.
Damn, take that. All right. I did it a little bit earlier.
I just want to compare every bad movie to Chocolat from here on out.
I did the random number generator earlier, so we already know what our next year is, and the year for Movie Club that we'll be talking about next is 2021.
I'm
so
so
a very, very
excited.
new year.
Yay.
The nominees for the year were Coda, Belfast, Coda won, by the way, Belfast, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, West Side Story.
10 movies, people. 10 movies, which I'm laughing that we have to watch Don't Look Up again.
We have to watch Don't Look Up again. We have to watch West Side Story again. We have to. Did we watch The Power of the Dog?
No, I don't think I did.
Is that with Jesse Plemons?
I have no idea. That doesn't even sound familiar to me.
Nightmare Alley, I believe, is Bradley Cooper. I'm excited to watch Licorice Pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited for that. I'm excited to watch King Richard.
I'm excited to rewatch Coda.
I am excited to watch Coda. So we've actually watched. We've watched Coda. We've watched Don't Look Up. We've watched Dune. We've watched.
Oh my god, we've rewatched Dune.
So we've watched 4 of the 10 already.
Oh god. Are we finally gonna watch Dune 2?
Dune 2 chicks at the same time. Shelby, take us home.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here. That was the quickest movie episode we've ever had because we had such strong feelings. You can find both of our socials in the description of every episode. You can find this podcast on pretty much all podcast streaming services or on YouTube if that is your preferred way of finding podcasts. Please feel free to rate and review. And I hope everyone had a happy new year, happy holiday season, happy few days off from work, hopefully. And we'll see you next week.